The exercises up to this point was about being in touch with feeling the energy in the center of your chest, which is the heart chakra, which is the heart. And what does the heart want you to do? What is your assignment is the question that will be the last circle. And it is really about, what did you come on this earth to do? To suffer from, because you can't get through this life without your share of suffering. But what did you learn from it about compassion for others? But what will you learn if you haven't learned already about compassion for yourself? That we activists have that often as a problem. We understand what suffering is because we saw it in our societies, our families, our communities. We saw power over, we saw people go silent because they were intimidated. And so we learned. And then we wanted to change things. And so everyone in this room is an activist in some way, in your family or in the world. And we do that because we learned something from being here. And we had compassion that made us activists, or heart activists. But what happens often with women is that they need to start looking after themselves and their own body, soul, mind connections. And the place where this can most be done is in an ongoing circle. An ongoing circle that has your back, that prays, that has a circle with a sacred center. The difference with the concept of the Millionth circle from consciousness raising groups is really that there is acknowledged that in the center of all of us, and in the center of the circle that you're in, that there is a divine energy, that there is what in Jungian psychology is called the large S self. But you could call it God, Goddess, Tao, all it is, higher power. And that God, that energy is a part of all of us, inside our body self. So there's something about being in a circle where that is acknowledged, where you can be real. You know, we go out in the world, and whether you go out as activists or as social personas or as academicians, there's a certain kind of face you give to each other that is to reflect back that we're all the same. Well, we actually have a lot of similarities, but each individual has had her own life story. And often she's been ashamed of her own life story, of what she didn't do, or what she didn't accomplish, or how she got beat up, or whatever it was that made her feel in some way not okay. And it's really when you trust a group of women with a sacred center, with your story, and gradually over time reveal the depths of who you are. What you find often is that you accept that part of yourself. You become increasingly more whole. I am a psychiatrist and a Jungian Analyst. This does individual work. There aren't enough Jungian Analysts or people who are willing to come to see one to solve the problems that everybody has. But circles are enough for everybody. So anyway, my activism is in that little seed 5WCW, only now it has orange on it. It has India 2022 on it. And you know, my sense of it in Toronto and other places is you pick up this pin and you look at it and you put it in the palm of your hand and you say, I'm going to be there. And that is a mystical kind of pledge. It doesn't have anything to do with it even being organized yet. But India has the most NGO groups in the world. They take to the street and they get and it means something. And then we got it. We got it the day we marched, the day after Trump was elected. He was the best recruiter for women ever. We got called to march wherever we heard about it and moved to go. And we didn't know whether other people would show up. And I was called to go to Washington. And here were all these people were so crowded we couldn't march. We were jammed. But everybody was so polite to one another. There were men and women and children, lots of women, and lots of activists of all ages. And one of the things I heard was, "This is the nicest mob I've ever been in." Because there was this heart connection. We got it. And we looked around and we saw ourselves reflected in everybody else. So this was the first Me Too. It was the first positive sense of Me Too. I belong in this group with everybody else. Me Too. And then it moved into the Me Too. I have suffered. I have been raped. I have been beaten. I have been treated badly. I have been oppressed. And everything bad that was done to me made me feel worthless. And then I tried to compensate by doing these other things. But in my body self, I felt if I was treated this badly, I must have deserved it. I must be bad. And this is the pain of being a psychiatrist, to realize that these people that come in and they look fine off, I mean, this is private practice, so the people I see look fine on the surface, but inside there's a kid that was beaten up, or an adolescent, or a woman, or somebody who made it into the world as a success activist. Whatever you are doing, you're successful at it, as far as a lot of others are concerned. But there's, until you bring in that part that was treated badly, and say, in a circle or in a movement, you get the sense of Me Too. My particular version of what I went through was this. And then often there are tears for the first time. And acceptance, not just by the circle that reflects you back, but by some part of yourself that accepts being loved. And I think that circles are much more effective than long-term therapy, by the way. In lots of ways, because they can last for the rest of your life. So anyway, when you pick up one of those blue buttons, wear them. Move, because right now it's like it's an envision. Yes, I went last year to New Delhi, India, and I got it, what the energy there was, and that they could organize it. And I got from being at the UN since 2002, when I came with a little book, The Millionth Circle. And I've been doing this now that for 17 years, saying we need a 5th Women's World Conference, right? And the reason we do is to bring the women together, to be the force we are. So I've seen the women in India getting the message and knowing that they can do it. And I believe that they will. So I plan to go to India in 2022 to the 5th World Conference on Women that does not have UN in front of it. It got very clear with the election in the United States, with the resistance in the UN, with the idea that the big scene would be the squabbling nations representatives meeting, that what really was important was always the forum. I didn't go to any of, like Anne, I didn't go to them before. But what I did is I came to the UN in 2002 and heard the women talk about how they were moved and how they became NGOs, how it was that they were doing their life work. This is assignment. Individuation is a big psychological Jungian word. Campbell's thing is you have your personal myth to live. I end up talking within the UN system and calling it assignment. That if you have an assignment, only you know it. Only you know it from inside out. First thing you know is that this, whatever it is meaningful to you personally. And it's meaningful to you because you resonate with it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it happened directly to you in this life, but at some point you get it, what it was like to the women that were treated this way. So you got it. So it's meaningful. You can do a lot with your life, but for some reason you decided to do this. And I just wanted to reflect back that I was hearing that. that there's something, this is individuation, this is your personal myth, this is what you came to do. This is what the suffering that you went through or witnessed makes it worthwhile because it set you on a path. So it's meaningful. Then I could see from here, getting together with each other is fun. There is something about, besides meaningful, it's fun when you are together with others who are going in the same direction as you are and can cry and laugh together and cheer each other on. It's fun, but it's also fun when you finally are able to find your voice and your gifts and whatever you are doing that you are actualizing, to use another psychological word. You're actualizing some natural talent or gift that you have. You know, it's always fun. It's always fun if you discover you have a gift for something. And you go out with a gift and you grow. And so, it's fun. And the last criterion, again, only you can know, is that it's motivated by love. You might start out saying it's motivated by anger. But you know, anger fizzles. And it gets often translated into depression when you stop moving. So anger doesn't do it. But love does. But anger often has to do because something you love is being trashed. And you care about it. So your motivation, though, appears that you're angry, which you are. You're outraged, in fact. But underneath it all is a deep love and a deep faith and hope that things could be better. So these are the ingredients that only you know answers to about what to do with, as Mary Oliver has said, doesn't everything die and too soon? Tell me, what do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And translating wild is what was instinctually, naturally there. You know, wild is before patriarchy did it in, or wild is before the men in your life did it in, or your mother who was bitter did it in, whatever it is. Wild is still wild. It just needs to be open to you again, to go to that place in your soul that is pure, is you, is right for you, and you will know it. And that's the part that has to do with fulfilling what you came for. What did you come for? Why are you here? Why are we all here at this particular time when the power of the feminine is rising and we are helping all, as you know, when they say, all boats are lifted when the tide rises. And there is a feminine tide that is rising that means every individual and every circle is helped by that.